Raging rants and reviews. Watch Eddie Murphy and Cass have a slow stroke for 2 hours on film. By declare of his father, Prince Akeem must travel to America and reconnect with his bastard son, so that one day he may claim the throne. The film opens up on the 30th anniversary of Prince Akeem and Lisa Jofer. We are immediately presented with Prince Akeem's 3 beautiful daughters, Mika, Oma, and Tinashe. Immediately following, we get what nobody ever needed, which is 67-year-old Louis Anderson in a McDowell embroidered dashiki. I seriously can't unsee this.
I'm doing that for the culture, Bob.
We move right along to Prince Akeem getting his ass handed to him by his 3 daughters, which I rather enjoyed. We meet General Izzy from Nextdoria. Nextdoria. Y'all serious? Y'all thought that was a good idea? General Izzy is introduced by Michael Blackston, which, for Jafari Ferguson being from Ghana, his accent sounds completely forced. But everyone's accent sounds like they watched Black Panther on repeat and was like, we would kinda sound like we're from Zamunda, so it's fine. It's not fine. It's all terrible. Terrible. So, back to General Izzy and his step squad, apparently. So he prances on the scene, and really, literally mean he kind of prances onto the scene. With him, he brings his sister, who apparently has been hopping on one foot and barking like a dog for 30 years. Apparently she's cursed. Whatever. Next, we're introduced to Edie Easy, played by Rotimi, and he's just got the most horrible wig and the ashiest hands I've ever seen on a light-skinned man ever. It's pretty hilarious. And his daughter who, oh, wait, nope, not yet. We need to address the fact that Akeem doesn't have a man to take the throne.
Perhaps your son can be... But you don't have one. The shame must be unbearable. As a man, as a king, without an heir with a nutsack.
So apparently, if you ain't got an heir with a nutsack, then, you know, your extremely capable, smart, intelligent daughter, Mika, irrelevant, push her to the side. Don't even worry about her. She can't take the throne because woman. Introducing Baba. You remember Baba. He was by Joffrey's side every step of the way. You don't remember Baba from the first movie? No? But yeah, Baba, he exists. Deal with it. King Joffrey Jofer, on his deathbed, has known for about 30 years that Akeem has had a bastard son in America. He did zilch to help the kid though, which, if you watch Black Panther so much, you might have picked up that abandoning kids was the wrong answer. Sorry, tangent. Back to Prince Akeem and his bastard son.
A bastard son.
We learn from Simi that they leave the club with 2 auspicious women, one who turns out to be Leslie Jones, and I don't say this lightly, but Prince Akeem is drugged and raped.
But there was no inappropriate mating. She offered me some of her ceremonial herbs. And then, if memory serves, a wild boar burst into the room. It came and jumped into my lap, and then it began to ram me.
I won't go into how he addresses the beautiful Leslie Jones as a wild boar, but, you know, black woman, shame, whatever. Akeem gets taken advantage of, and voila, 30 years later, he has a son that serves a purpose to move the plot along.
A bastard son.
Who he must go collect and bring back to Zamunda as a trophy of his manhood, so he's not a true man. King Joffrey decides he's going to have his funeral while he's still alive. We get some comedic song selections and a funeral narrated by none other than Morgan Freeman. I mean, it's pure style. If you're gonna have someone narrate your funeral, it's gotta be Morgan Freeman. Then, in the strangest comedic moment I've seen, Joffrey is like, all right, kiddo, I'm gonna die now. Good luck. Closes his eyes and dies, like on stage at the funeral that he was having for himself while he was alive. he dies at that funeral. I was already laughing when he said the line, so when he actually died, I was a little taken aback because then I felt horrible. But that's just all set up. The movie has yet to begin. Yes, they make it known several times throughout the entire film, the child is a bastard. They just kind of harp on it. Enter Lavelle Johnson, Jermaine Fowler, and Uncle Reem, Tracy Morgan, who has probably one of the best lines in the entire movie. Cut to a gentrified Queens and our favorite barbershop boys at the Mighty Sharp Barbershop. Lavelle takes Akeem back to his house where Mary has to remind everyone that she was in the streets back in the day. Akeem exclaims that Lavelle is his son, which everyone just kind of agrees with, especially after Simi drops a briefcase full of money and gold bars. I mean, that's enough to convince me to go away to a different country that I've never heard of with a guy who showed up and told me he was his dad. Sure, I'd go if he had a briefcase full of money. Off to Zamunda we go. General Izzy's army is working out with a bunch of shake weights, and it's a pretty comedic scene. It allows Rick Ross to struggle through his one line of the film.
I've just been informed King Akeem has returned from America with his son.
We revisit old tropes about the bathers, which leads us to Mirembe. Finally, someone with an accent that is pure and genuine and pleasant to the ear. Finally. And we finally get to meet his daughter, Boboto. Baba comes in and he's like, hey, wait a minute. There's a princely test. Princely test, though? I mean, rites of passage was right there.
Princely test, princely test, princely test.
Culture, critical thinking, and courage. We get something that we all love, a montage, yay. A series of short shots are sequenced and spliced together to condense time, space, and information. So in just a few short edits, we go from the uncouth Lavelle Johnson to Prince Ready. Lavelle completes all three of the princely tests. Seriously, rites of passage was right there. It's already a thing. Onward to the garden, where Lavelle Johnson is in love with Mirembe. This is why montages suck, because how much time has passed? A few weeks? So you done fell in love with Mirembe? Do she got sisters? Do she got parents? Do she have aspirations beyond this barbershop? Which I love the idea, don't get me wrong. But do you know anything about her? But you're in love with her, right? Aren't you getting married tomorrow? Like in like 2 hours?
Whose auntie is this?
Okay, keep going. We get to the wedding and it's more repeats from the original film as Boboto is like,
whatever you like, whatever is your favorite movie, whatever business you like to start.
Lavelle confesses his love to Mirembe and asks her to run off to America so that they can get hitched. Okay, run off to America and get married. Go ahead, sis. Shout out to Dikembe Mutombo. General Izzy pops up and tries to kidnap Mika, who beats his ass with the help of her two sisters and Arsenio in a dress. We need to talk about these two table legs that y'all stole from somebody auntie table. Y'all had a $60 million budget and y'all got this girl fighting with table legs. Do better. Who auntie she stole these table legs from? That's really what I want to know. Like, somebody table is out there missing two legs. Just two. Flash over to America and we see the wedding about to take place and she's like, oh, this is how I dreamed. This is perfect. I would never want it any other way. Which a couple minutes later, we find out that that was a lie. So we go back to Zamunda so that they can marry off the crown prince. Mika brokers a peace treaty with General Izzy, and Akeem also exclaims that he's going to change the rules so that when he dies, Mika can become queen. He hasn't done it yet, but he'll get to it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He'll get to it. All is forgiven, and we close out on some terrible, terrible music by none other than Randy Watson and Sexual Chocolate, which I rather enjoyed, but he definitely looked like Rasputia in a blue tux. It was terribly good. I loved it. I laughed. Yes, it had some funny moments, but this entire film was unnecessary. There's actually a scene in the film which talks about making sequels that nobody asked for.
What do we have besides superhero shit, remakes, and sequels to old movies nobody asked for?
This is true about sequels. If something is good,
Why
why
ruin
ruin
it?
it?
Fortunately enough, you haven't ruined Coming to America for me. I did enjoy, like, the McFlurby at McDowell's and how McDowell is constantly explaining how his products are different from McDonald's. That's hilarious. Also, the McFlurby machine worked. McDonald's never has a working McFlurry machine. We definitely have to stop and appreciate the outfits. The colors, the hairstyles, they were all grace and beauty and power the entire movie, and it definitely got overlooked a lot. Listen, we could have easily gave Akeem a middle son, and the son, inherits the throne just because that's the rule, and ultimately we find out that the daughter is more capable, more deserving, but yet we decided to give him a bastard son that was, it was completely unnecessary. I didn't want this movie to be bad, but I knew it was going to be, which is why I didn't want it to exist at all.
Good night, my sweet.